Hi, I'm Zahia from Cover Me Chic, and today we're going to sew the Hadia Peplum top with a cinch waist and no hiking up at the bottom. If you want a live monthly Q&A, a new sewing pattern every month, and to join a community of sewers, I'll show you how to get that at the end. Let's get into it. For this top, I'm using a print that I designed, which is available over on Spoonflower. I'll put the link in the description. It's organic cotton knit, which is basically a heavy interlock fabric. This top has a belt, so I have this belt slider, which I'll also put in the description below, along with the thread. I laid out the pattern and cut it according to the pattern instructions. Fold both waistband pieces wrong sides together, making sure you match the notches, and you're going to sew along the long side of each, so the right and the left waistband. So we're going to sew this at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Make sure that the notch side is the open side, because that's what you're going to match up to the front of the top for both sides. We're going to clip the seam allowance to a 1/4 inch. The easiest way to turn the belt right side out is a loop turner. I'll have the link in the description below. But basically you just put in, I would say, the loop piece, and then the turner piece you stick through with the pointy side up, so that you can use it to fix the edges. So you'll see what I'm doing here. Use the pointer to push out the edges so that everything lays the way it should. And you do the same thing with the left side. So I'm pressing the seams first, and then I am matching up the seams so that it's on the fold. That's the easiest way to do it. Just press the seam flat and then, true up the seams and then press it again so that everything is laying flat. You do that to both sides, the right and left waistband. Now I'm gonna take it over to the machine. I'm using a seam guide and sewing that at a 1/4 inch top stitch so that everything stays flat for both sides of the waistband, right and left. So using the unnotched side, I'm adding the belt slider. I'm looping it over 1 inch and then fold it over a 1/4 inch, pin it, and then top stitch it on the right side. So matching the notches on the front piece, I am putting the left side of the waistband and the right side of the waistband. So to make sure the waistband is even, I'm just matching it to the hem to make sure that it's landing where it's supposed to land. So now I'm going to pin the 2 side front pieces to the front piece, match the notch, and pin along the seam. Then we're going to take it over to the machine and sew. So now I'm going to sew the front seams at a 1/2 inch seam allowance for both sides. All seam allowance for this top is a 1/2 inch. Now for the back, I'm going to pin at the center back. Make sure you match the notches, and then we're going to take it over to the machine and sew. And then we're going to serge all of the edges. Now that we have all of that sewn, I'm going to press all of the seams that were just sewed so everything lays flat, and then we can move on to the next step, which is pinning the top sleeve and the side seams. After I pin everything, I'm going to take it over the machine and sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Quick note, CMC Collective members get monthly live Q&A with me, a new pattern every month, and a community portal to ask questions anytime. The link is below. So So I sewed both sides and I serged the edges, and now we're going to add the collar. So right now we turned in the collars right side together, and we're going to pin it on the opposite side of the fold, and we're going to do the same thing for the cuff. We're going to take it over to the machine and sew it out at 1/2 inch seam allowance. So now that that's sewn, I'm going to press the seam open and then fold in half, wrong sides together, and then press again, and do the same thing for the cuff. Now I'm going to pin the collar to the neck, right sides together, matching the front notch and the center back seam. Then pin all around this neck seam. Then we're going to take it over to the machine and sew. Now at the bottom of the sleeve, we're going to use the ease stitch, change it to 4, and sew 2 rows, 1 1/4 inch from the edge and another 1/2 inch from the edge. And this is where we're going to gather the sleeve edge so that the cuff fits. So now we're going to pin the cuff to the sleeve, matching the cuff seam to the side seam of the top and the sleeve seam to the cuff notch. Easily gather so all of them are evenly spaced, and then you're going to sew the seam at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I finished all of the edges, including the bottom hem, and I'm going to turn it up a 1/2 inch and press, and then take it over to the machine and sew a 1/2 inch from the edge. Now you've got a beautiful Hadia top. If you want the full fit techniques and style options, plus monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask me anything, a new pattern delivered every month, and access to our community portal to connect with other sewers and get help from me anytime, join the CMC Collective. Link is in the description. Or if you just want the standalone pattern, the link is in the description as well. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.